First of all, thank you, God, for this adversity that we've all faced, right? Look at you. Look at you, man. We're all here because we faced adversity and we didn't back down. I've been through so much adversity in my life, and you know what? Adversity is an asset if you know how to use it. And you guys are all a testament of that. So at the age of 23, I was arrested and faced a life sentence in prison for a crime I didn't commit. For 23 hours a day, I lived in a cell with absolutely nothing. And I'll never forget my first day walking into court, shackled up in front of an audience just like this, except they were photographers taking my picture. They put it on the front page of the news press the next day. Sean Crane charged with attempted murder. And I saw this woman walking towards me as I walked down the alleyway right here. And it was my lawyer, and for a split second, I was hopeful to see somebody there who was by my side. And she said one thing to me that day. She said, Mr. Crane, the judge and the DA are talking about amending your charges to homicide. The victim's not going to make it. Then she just walked away. I was in disbelief in that moment. It was so surreal, I couldn't even grasp that this was my life. You know, you read about these things happening to people or somebody getting locked up in another country, but you never think it could actually happen to you. Only it did. And I went back to that cell, and I had 4 concrete walls and nothing else. Being stuck in a cell all day long will teach you a lot about life. And I started thinking about the life that I had lived to that point. At 23 years old, thinking that it was all over. I started reflecting back on my journey, that short period of time that I had. And you know what I saw? Nothing. Nothing that I was proud of. Growing up, I come from a really difficult background. My parents were dealing with drug and alcohol addiction. And at the age of 14, my dad went to prison and my mom abandoned us. So as a kid, I went from someone having these big dreams, these passions that we all have inside of us, to feeling broken and ashamed of who I was. And all throughout high school, I never played any sports. I wanted to play football. I never stepped foot on the field. I wanted to be somebody and show the world who I truly could be. But I was scared and I was ashamed. Sitting in that cell, all I could think about were all the things that I didn't do. What started to stand out to me the most wasn't the life sentence. It was the life that I had just squandered. Every excuse, every moment that I'd taken for granted. And all of the things that I wanted to do that I didn't do started to come back and haunt me in that cell. I want you to do me a favor for a moment. I want you to all close your eyes. I want you to imagine being in that cell, thinking that your life is over right now. Or God forbid, you go to the doctor next week and you find out you have a brain tumor or some terminal illness and your life's over. What are the parts of your life right now that you're not taking action on? Who is that person that you want to become that you're not embodying? What are the dreams, the goals, and the passions that you have that you're not fulfilling? And what's at stake if you don't make a change or you don't take more action? You don't push yourself harder. You see, that's what I felt in that cell. Now open your eyes. But I couldn't just get up and leave and change. You can. When you leave today, I don't want you to be inspired. I want you to be compelled to take action. There's a difference. We can get inspired from a podcast or a book or an awesome speech that made me laugh. But I want you to be compelled and change the way you live forever. Because guess what? There's no do-overs. This is it. It's not a rehearsal. You're not going to get to the end of your life and suddenly say, oh, okay, let me try again. I didn't give enough effort. This is it. And you got to live with that intensity and that conviction every day to change the world, right? You're all made for more. You're all made for more. But either you don't believe or you don't believe it's possible and you're holding back. You know how I know? Because that was me. And so I had to sit in this pain in that cell. I had to face that truth. And it was just eating me alive. Facing these regrets. Every morning waking up thinking, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. I'm never going to have a family of my own. I'm never going to get out and hug my loved ones. I'm never going to get out and just breathe that fresh air and be my own person again. It's over. It's all over. And every morning when I would think this way, suddenly I'd be struck down by anxiety and stress. I was consumed. And all I wanted to do was go curl up on my small little mattress and hide from the world and pretend it wasn't real. And if it wasn't the anxiety, it was the depression about all the things I didn't do. All my wasted opportunities, all my squandered potential. It was eating me alive in that cell. And I realized I was in a life or death situation, that I was either going to find a way to persevere or I was going to perish in that jail cell. See, my whole life, I let my circumstances define who I was. I let my parents being drug addicts or my dad going to prison make me feel bad about who I was and how I showed up for the world. This was the first time and the first moment that I realized I couldn't allow my external circumstances to define who I was. And I had to fight for what I wanted in life. And at this time, it was an internal battle. You see, my greatest threat weren't the other inmates, they weren't the guards. It wasn't even the life sentence I was facing. It was my own mind and these thoughts that were just wreaking havoc on me day in and day out. And so I'll never forget, one morning, I woke up. And right when those negative thoughts started bombarding me about the future, about what might be, I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to let that happen right now. Let me close my eyes and just think of the fact that I'm alive right now. Let me just remember that I'm here in this moment for a reason, that I have another breath of air. God gave me life today for a reason. And I started picturing my family members' faces and memories from the past that brought me joy. And I started thinking about all the good in my life, the fact that I had legs that I could walk around on. Some people didn't have legs. Some people are in a wheelchair right now. They'd give anything to have legs to run down the street. And I started thinking about how I had eyes. I could see colors. I could see all your beautiful faces right now. Some people don't. They can't see colors. They're blind. And I started training my mind to focus on the things that in my life that were happening for me, the things in my life that I could focus on that were good, not bad. And then I asked myself, well, Sean, what if this experience is exactly what you needed? What if this was that pattern interrupt, that pause on life that's going to allow you to get sober, to get away from those codependent relationships, and to finally get focused on who you want to be? What if this experience is happening for you, not to you? You know, oftentimes in life, we can't see in the midst of our adversity and our struggles that it's actually a blessing, not a curse. But in that moment, that's what I chose to believe. And so what I started doing every day is I'd get up in my cell, and my feet would hit that cold cement floor after going through this internal battle and just fighting to get through one moment to the next. I'd ask myself, what can I do to better myself in this cell today? What can I do right now in this moment just to feel good about who I am and what I'm doing? And I didn't have much. I had a couple pieces of writing paper, some random books, and that was it. So every morning I'd wake up and I'd always start with a workout. And as I was doing my workout, I wasn't just doing push-ups and going through the motions. I was telling myself, I get to do these push-ups. I have arms that work. I'm going to use these arms like it's my last day alive. You know, I'm going to work out until I can't push myself up off the ground. I'm going to show how grateful I am for this body today. Then I'd clean up my area and I'd go start reading. And I'd say, man, I get to read. I get to understand what's in this book. I get to learn. Or I'd write letters back home. I get to write these letters. I have people back home that want to hear from me. They love me. I get to. You see, you don't have to do anything. You get to. It's a choice. But the way you talk to yourself about your life is going to be more impactful than what you're actually going through. And that's what I learned in that cell. And I started to feel differently. And for the first time in my life, I started to feel proud of who I was. I felt this energy, this love, this affinity swelling up inside of me. And I'll never forget going to bed in jail, facing life in prison, feeling proud of who I was. Feeling happy, feeling fulfilled. All these feelings and emotions we chase our entire lives that most people never find. I tapped into that in a jail cell, and it radically transformed my life. That moment was life-altering for me, because I realized that all the things we think are going to fulfill us, all the things that we chase all along, that's not where we find what we're looking for. It's in here, and you create it. Every day through the way you're thinking, through the way you're talking about yourself and your life, and through the actions you take. Now, most people lack confidence. In fact, 85% of people are reported to have low self-esteem. Why do you think that is? Anybody? It's because they're not doing things consistently enough that make them feel good about who they are. Your regrets, your negative self-talk, your low confidence, that's a signal from your higher self saying, hello, wake up, Get up earlier, work harder, read more books, be nicer. Anything that you think negatively about yourself has some truth to it. Now everyone wants to give positive affirmations or try to think their way out of a problem. You got to act your way out of these problems. That's the only way you're going to change your outcomes. All the affirmations in the world, all the positive self-talk won't change your life, especially if you don't believe it, because your actions don't align to who you want to be. That's the truth. So at this point in my time of incarceration, I had the opportunity to take a plea deal and admit guilt for something I didn't do. Going to trial was not an option for me. The DA in my county had a 98% conviction rate. The police wrote up a horrible report that made me look like the assailant, and someone was really hurt in the so-called incident that I was accused of. I knew to go to trial meant that I was never getting out, or maybe 30 years down the road. And so they offered me a plea deal for 7 years. Can you imagine saying, I'll take it, let's go? That conviction in who you're becoming, that belief that you could use that adversity to your advantage and come out the best version of you you've ever been, that's conviction, and that's what I did. Because the changes that I was going through in my cell and the person that I was becoming, the way I felt about myself, gave me so much hope and faith that I could turn that 5 years that I ended up doing into a life-changing experience. And so I went to prison, focused on becoming my best self every day. Focused on blocking out the negativity and continuing to cultivate this feeling, this energy within that I had tapped into. Every day my sole purpose was to keep that energy alive so I could come home and share it with the world. That's all I thought about every day. And I didn't miss one day of working on myself and keeping that energy alive. The same routines that I started, I just doubled down on them. Instead of push-ups and sit-ups in my cell, I was doing 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 squats before anyone else even woke up. Every single day without failure. I took pride in my work ethic. Then I found out that I could take college courses in prison. That changed my life. Prior to going to jail, I thought I lacked intelligence. I was street smart. I was good with girls or friends in social situations, but I just wasn't a smart guy. You know, it was a limiting belief I had. And when I was in my cell writing letters back home, my dad and a couple other people wrote me back and they said, man, you misspelled all these words. We could barely read your writing. And they were kind of clowning on me. Not trying to, but they were. And I took that as a challenge, you know, so I started using this little pocket dictionary. And every day I'd look up words that I couldn't spell, and I'd start correcting my spelling. I worked on my grammar, and I took it really personal. You know, I really was putting in effort, and in a very short period of time, I felt my mind start to come alive. You know, my speed of thought, my memory. And I was writing these letters, and I was getting feedback now saying, hey, what are you doing differently? Do you have like a tutor in prison, or do you have a cellmate that's writing these letters for you? And that little act of getting way out of my comfort zone and applying myself to change something I thought was permanent showed me what was possible in life. And when you believe that you could change yourself and you're willing to take the actions and put in the effort, you'd be amazed at what you can transform about yourself. So when I got to prison, I found they had college courses. I thought, okay, maybe I could take this college course and learn something, or maybe I could continue on with my education. Had I not started just looking up words in a little pocket dictionary, I never would have had the confidence to do so. And I started falling in love with all these different subjects: sociology, business, psychology. I took every course they had available and ended up getting 4 associate's degrees in that time. And they gave me 6 months off my sentence. But I didn't do it for the time off. I did it for me, because I was on this journey of bettering myself, and I was in love with the process of who I was becoming. And every day, I was in my cell, writing papers, working out, journaling, reflecting on my life. I was never an inmate, not once in prison. I was a student, an athlete, a visionary. I was cultivating the person you see today all those years ago through my thoughts and actions every single day. And the other guys noticed. They started noticing that I was different, that I wasn't like the other inmates. I didn't do drugs. I didn't talk about violence or my war stories from the past. I was focused on the future and becoming someone I was proud of. And so they started approaching me in the building, you know, going, Sean, what are you doing? You're different. We see you being motivated every day, working out. You're taking college courses. Like, how are you so positive? What are you doing? Show us. So I thought, okay, I'm going to just start working out with these guys and talking to them. And over the course of the next couple of years, I started mentoring dozens of other inmates, helping them break through negative thoughts, think differently about their future, exercise, even take college courses. And it was in that moment that I realized my purpose is to serve. You see, everyone's looking for their purpose like it's somewhere else. You are your purpose. That's it. Your purpose on this earth is to become your greatest self and then share that person with the world. How cool is that? You get to be you and your uniqueness and your brilliance. You're special. There's no one on this earth like you. Just get better every day, 1% better every day, and watch who you become. Fast forward through the years, and I got out of prison, and this happened. But before this happened, guess what? I got out, and everyone thinks getting out of prison is so glamorous. You can imagine after 5.5 years, overcoming a life sentence, fighting every day, every single day, just to get out beyond those walls and live your life, get a second chance. I got out, and it was pretty tough. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety, because I had just mastered one environment. But now I was back out in this big, fast-paced world. And everything's coming at you. Now you have to make money, and now you have to worry about insurance, and now you have to get a driver's license. But I had been preparing for that moment for 5 years, and I knew it was going to be tough, but I was ready for it. So I was able to stay in a trailer on my aunt and uncle's property. And I was doing tree work with my uncle. He owns a tree service, and I was climbing trees and cutting brush and wood like I did back when I was younger, just making a little money to save up. But it's not what I wanted to do. And every day I was going there, I felt like I was just being a fake, a phony. I felt like I was going backwards in life. I wanted to go here towards this big vision to change the world and share my story. And I'm over here putting brush into a chipper, like raking up leaves. But I had to. That was a stepping stone. I had to make some money. I had to figure out what I was going to do. And then my cousin invited me to go snowboarding a month after being home. And I thought I was like Johnny Tsunami out there on the slopes. Have you guys seen that movie? Right? Well, I wasn't. The last run of the day, I broke my shoulder. Literally broke my scapula in half. So for 2 days, I was like in the trailer. I couldn't lift my arm. Finally, my uncle's like, dude, you can't lift your arm. You should probably go to the hospital, you know? And so I went, and my scapula was broken. Now I couldn't work, couldn't make money. I'm just like, man, this isn't what was supposed to happen. It was supposed to go differently. And that week, these wildfires burned down the whole area where I lived in California, and we had to evacuate. And now we're in this Airbnb. And then 2 days later, torrential rainstorms came through our area, and all the chaparral had burned away, so now mudslides covered all the roads. And I was just stuck in this little bubble where I couldn't leave. And I remember thinking, what is going on? This isn't the way it was supposed to work. I was supposed to be doing something so much different. You know, I had that urgency. This is a month out. Most people would have said, Sean, calm down, you know? But no, I had a mission. Every day I had to make count. And I was making up for lost time. And so instead of complaining or being a victim of circumstance, I decided to do something about it. So I locked myself in that little Airbnb and decided I was going to get certified as a fitness trainer. A week or two earlier, when I had broke my shoulder, I started going through my contacts, figuring out what am I going to do for work. And I found an old friend who was working as a personal trainer in a gym. And he said, hey, if you get certified, I know you're motivated, I know you just got out of prison, but I'm going to give you a shot. You can work with me, and I have some clients you could train. So I was very hopeful. But then when the mudslides and the rainstorms came, you know, and the fires, I was very disheartened. But I ended up getting certified, and this is how I became an entrepreneur. This is my journey into entrepreneurship. I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to get into Santa Barbara because all the roads were shut down. And I started going back through my contacts, and I found Nick Carver. And I remember Nick Carver took me on a plane ride a long time ago. He used to do sunset tours in Santa Barbara. So I called him up. I said, hey, Nick, are you flying planes? Like, what's going on? And he goes, yeah, I'm actually shuffling people back and forth from Ventura County to Santa Barbara because of the mudslides. I said, well, hey, I got this job opportunity. I just got out of prison. Like, can I get a ride with you? And he's like, yeah, meet me Monday morning, and I'll take you into Santa Barbara. So I packed all my stuff in this little duffel bag. I literally went down to the airport with the duffel bag over my shoulder. I had like $700 in my pocket that I had saved up, and I was just going for it. You know, and on the plane ride over to Santa Barbara, he goes, so where are you staying? Like, I know you have this job opportunity, but where are you staying? I said, I don't know. I'm just going for it, man. I have no idea. And he's like, well, that's crazy, you know. But my dad, he rents out rooms to college kids, and they all just went back home for the summer. Maybe you can find a room there with him. So we land, and I go to the gym. I meet the owner, tell him my story. I'm honest with him. He's like, hey, kid, I'm going to give you a shot. I see that you're being honest. You're forthcoming. You look motivated. Let's see how it works out. So now I have a job. I get to do something that I want to do, which is help people. I don't want to cut trees and be a laborer my whole life. I want to serve. That's what I'm meant to do. But I still needed a place to live. So we drove to his dad's house. He was cool enough to give me a room. I gave him all my money. Now I'm broke. I have no money. So now I have a job, a place to stay, but no car. Like, how am I going to get around? So I called my uncle's mechanic that he had in town. I said, hey, I need a car. I know you buy and flip cars, and you got something I could use? He's like, well, come down to my junkyard. I'll see what I have. And all his cars he wanted money for, I had no money, except for this Honda Civic. And I walk over to it, and the whole rear end is just smashed in. Like, there's no trunk, there's no back seat. You don't want to be seen driving this car. I promise you that. But I'm like, dude, I'll take it, yes, right? Because now I had a job, a place to stay, and a car. And the next morning, I was at the gym at 5 a.m. I parked the car around the corner so no one could see me, and I was training my first client. And that was less than 2 months after getting out of prison. And I never looked back. After 6 months in that gym, I decided, you know what, I love this, but I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work for anyone else. So I'm going to start my own fitness company. So I did. I started Shawn Michael Crane Fitness in Santa Barbara, California, and I started training clients all over the county, getting good results, making an impact, getting a good reputation. And at this time, I met the love of my life, Jessica, and we were falling deeply in love. So everything was starting to change for me. I got the woman in my dreams. I'm starting to train and help people, and things are looking up. And so then COVID-19 happened. And all of a sudden, the gyms were shutting down. And all of a sudden, my clients were saying, hey, Shawn, we can't train. I don't know what to do. You know, we can't train in the gym. They're shut down. And so literally overnight, I lost all my clients, all my income. But now it just wasn't me. I had my wife, Jessica, our oldest boy, Mason, who's my stepson, but he's my son, right? My daughter, Scarlett, had just been born, and Jessica was pregnant again with Preston. I got 3 beautiful children. I'll never forget, I'm sitting there in my wife's glider at 4 in the morning, just stressing out, thinking, how am I going to provide for my family? What am I going to do? I had like $1,200 in my bank account, you guys. 3 kids. And in that moment, I had 2 choices. I could call up my Uncle Mark and say, hey, can I get my job back? I fucked up. It didn't work out. I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm not meant to serve. Or I could say, fuck a plan B. I'm all in. Come on. I just went through 5 years in prison. I fought through that depression, that anxiety. I overcame addiction. I could handle this. And so I did. I started picking up this thing you call an iPhone. I never had an Instagram. There was nothing like that when I was out before. And I just started telling my story, man. And I started showing up for the world every day, all day. Authentic, raw, vulnerable. Talking to those pain points. I overcame that depression. I know what it's like not to have purpose or hope for yourself. I was that person. And this is what I did to overcome it. And that's when I created my life coaching business, because I'm not just a fitness guy, despite these arms you guys keep talking about, right? Fitness is a component of being your best, just like your mental health, just like your business acumen, your savvy, right? It's about being the most dynamic, elevated version you could become. So I teach my men how to use fitness and discipline as a tool to spark and ignite that fire within, so you can then go share that man with the world. So you can share that man with your employees. So you can take that vision and turn it into reality. And so my life coaching business now serves men all over the world. In fact, Patrick, who lives on the East Coast, stand up, Patrick. Yeah, this stud's in my program. He came here to hang out today because I'm from California. We do things over Zoom and on my online program. So what's up, Patrick? You want to say something?
Shawn is definitely the man. Whatever you see is raw, authentic. He doesn't put on some facade when he's talking to people. This is him on Instagram and Zoom calls. Here, he's just
Thank you, We didn't plan that either, all right? I got another client who I'm going to meet with in the city tomorrow and go check out New York City. But it's so cool. Like, I got these men all over the country, and we're just connecting, and we're building these relationships, and we all have the same goal. We want to be our best selves so that we can share that person with the world, with our wives, with our children, because the ripple effect is immeasurable. A couple of you stood up here earlier and used the word thousands. I think it was 10,000 or thousands. No, it's millions. It's billions of people who will be impacted by you stepping up and becoming that person in your heart that you're being called to be. Billions of people. When I wake up in the morning, I get up at 3:15 every day no matter what. It's not for me. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm tired. I got the excuses. It's for you. It's for you. It's for you. It's for your children. It's for my children to show them what the standard is of a man that's going to change this world. It's so much bigger than me. I don't even think about what I want. Everything I do is to serve, to impact, to be an example. But this didn't just happen. This is 10 years in the making. 10 years and I'm just getting to this level, or I could serve at that level. So for those of you that are just starting your journey or you're partially on your journey, keep going. You are your purpose. And as you continue to invest and grow on a personal level, that vision comes alive. Those answers appear, and your path will be laid before you. I promise you that, and I'm living proof right now. So remember I told you the pocket dictionary? I became a best-selling author last year because I chose to pick up that pocket dictionary. It gave me the courage to take college courses. When I wrote papers in school, I actually got letters back from teachers saying, I can't believe you're in prison. Your paper was the best paper in the whole school. Do you know what that means to a guy that thought he just lacked intelligence? You see, I was proving those limitations and fears wrong every day through my actions. You can't tell me that I'm not smart because I've proven it to myself. You can't tell me that I don't want it because I'm living it every day. And that's how you kill that fear inside of you. That's how you vanquish those doubts that you have from time to time. You prove them wrong through action. That's the only way. You can't talk yourself out of a problem. You have to act your way into the solution. I promise you that. Woo! Right? Who made me drink the C4? I live this. I love it. This is me everywhere I go, every day. You see me at the coffee shop drinking my third espresso. I'm going to preach to you because I care, because I know what it's like to get to the end, or what I thought was the end, and realize I did it wrong. I did it wrong. This is my world. We all dream of taking our family on that vacation, right? That dream trip. That was an all paid for inclusive trip to Cancun last year. The smiles on their faces is everything, right? They're my world, and that's what I do this for every single day. It's for you guys, your kids, like I think so much bigger than just this moment and these surface level problems that people are focused on. Any questions though? Like I was gonna come here and just see about questions and do a Q&A. Anybody have problems in their life or something they're struggling with that they just want to share and open up about? Anybody? Let's hear it.
How do you keep your mindset just like so, I guess, infectious in a good way? You know, how do you keep yourself going? You know.
Well, I mean, I've been through so much that this is all just like icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Like every day I wake up and you've been through struggle, right? So I remember the suffering, I remember the struggling. I wake up today and I'm not going to allow negative thoughts to get in the way of me being grateful for what I have. But then you have to cultivate it every day through your discipline. 3:15 every day, no matter what. Like workouts every day, no matter what. Discipline with my nutrition every day. Those are acts of self-love. Everyone wants more, but they're like doing these things to themselves that cause doubt or, cause them to have shame and guilt later on in their life, whether it's drinking, whether it's texting another girl, whether it's that cheat meal, whatever it is, it's personal to you, right? Skipping your workout, like everything you do every day should be an act of love for yourself, because then you can share that love with other people. But if you're neglecting yourself, how are you going to show up for other people? So by naturally cultivating that love internally, you're going to feel better about yourself. You can't hide that, you can't fake that, Yeah.
So what would you say to a daughter that has a father in jail right now? What can be my best, there's only a few little bit of time that I have to help that mindset of my father. And I've been doing it that already, but hearing you, like seeing you after your sentence and being out, is something that I can see on him as well. So what would be the best thing that you would like to hear?
So it's your dad? And he's been incarcerated throughout your life?
No, he's gonna do 4 years.
Okay. I mean, the best thing to tell him as far as like you just doing good in your life, like being your best person. The last thing he wants is to see you struggling and knowing it's because of him. You know what I mean? So it's hard. I mean, my dad was in and out of prison my whole life. And then he died. My mom died when I was in prison. My grandma died. All the people I used to be around, they all died. I lost everyone. I'm not just doing this for me, I'm breaking the generational pattern in my family's lineage. Growing up, all I heard was the Crane curse. We're smart, we're gifted, but we use it for bad. All my family members were criminals, drug dealers, like really notorious people, and they got a lot of infamy, right? They were famous for the wrong reasons. That's not what I wanted. But I grew up in that lifestyle, seeing that stuff, glorifying it, and that's what led me to making a lot of choices I did. So when I sat in that cell and had time to reflect, I realized, like, this isn't who I am. This is never who I wanted to be. And I made a choice that I was going to be that person from that moment forward for the rest of my life. So I hope that helped you. I mean, right? It's going to be hard. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's going to be hard. I've cried many times looking in the mirror thinking, this is my life. For you, it's 4 years. He's going to be back out. Do you think he's going to want to do good?
I hope so.
Okay. I know what that's like. I lived it my whole life. You got to take care of you. Invest in yourself. Invest in what you need to do to feel better about your life. Because sometimes people don't change and we can't control them, and that's the hardest thing to hear, and that's the last thing I want to tell you right now.
And I think what she was getting at too was, what advice can she give him to help him focus?
Well, he's in prison. Well, so we could send him my book. That might help. I'll send him a free copy. Say, hey, this guy was in prison. He changed his life. So this is a song by Adele, Someone Like You. Raise your hand if you've heard it. That's the anthem of my life. Every day when I sat in county jail, the officer on the night watch would turn up the volume on the radio and play the radio down the hallway for everyone to hear. He thought he was doing us a favor. But every night, Adele, Someone Like You, came on, and she ripped my heart out night and night again. Because the truth is, I had nothing positive in my life in that moment. My girlfriend had just broke up with me. All these people were telling on me, even though they knew I was innocent, to cover up for their friends. I'm looking at life in prison. My dad's killing himself on the street. My mom's dying. All my family members are struggling and suffering. And now here I am, repeating these same patterns. So the reason this song's so special is because I'll never forget it because of that pain. But in that picture, when we were in Cancun, out of nowhere, my daughter Scarlett started singing that song. And I had the video, and I wanted to play it for you guys because it's really special, and you would have seen me cry. But in that moment, I literally just got tears in my eyes, and it all made sense. And here's the thing. Sometimes we can't understand why we're going through what we're going through. You know, there's a bigger plan and works here for all of you. And I just want you to know that you all have purpose, and there's something inside of you that's been gifted to you, a vision, a passion. The person you are is so unique and special, and there's nobody like you in this world. And I know at times it's very difficult, and at times you're scared, and at times you don't have the answer, and that's the way life is. But I'm here to tell you, if you keep fighting, you believe in yourself, and you never quit or give up, you'll have that moment like I did in Cancun where my daughter sang that song to me, and it all made sense. All right, so thank you for letting me share. Appreciate it.
There's so much more for you to tap into. You have so much more to give. You have so much strength. You have more resolve, more resiliency. You are made for more. Can't you see it? I know you feel it. I know when you go to bed at night, you question and wonder, is there more for me? Can I achieve more? Why am I holding back? This is the chance right now to let go of your limitations, to believe in the person you want to be, not the one you settled for. Click the link and join my program. I promise I'll walk with you side by side and show you the way. Let's take action right now to be the man that you want to be. No more excuses. This is for you and your family right now. Let's go. There's so much.